What is up, everybody? How you guys doing? Usually I'm like, whoa, hey, what's up? But like, man, I don't even know. Like, this is gonna be the shortest fucking pre-show we've ever done.
And the pre-show's over. Thank you for showing up.
Yeah, thank you. They're on now. No, dude. I'm gonna be honest. I'd be a little fucking mad if that happened. It's just like, dude, took a long time to get this shit all set up, and now they're just gone. Now they're just on already. What the fuck?
And
Jimi Hendrix.
do you remember that time the Oscars was like, we're gonna try to be, like, better, and hey, whoever has the shortest acceptance speech, gets the prize. So we don't give a fuck about this award ceremony. We want you to get out as fast as possible because fuck y'all achievements.
Sometimes though, they like, I just want to thank my pet goldfish. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up.
No.
Like, we don't
I get the mentality because they're like, hey, some people go on for long, but like, what are you doing then? You're giving these awards because you're recognizing their creative talents in the field that you're in. But you don't want them to spend time thanking the people that helped them get there because it feel like it takes too long. So what the fuck do you want?
But you have to consider that this is like the award ceremony is literally like a piece of entertainment itself. So you gotta like keep that shit going because if no one watches it because they're too bored because these long ass speeches, then these people are thanking all these fucking things for no reason. No one's watching.
But the thing is, and I get that, but my mentality is that if you win an award, like let's say you're best writer, you're gonna go on stage. You're also gonna take the people that helped you there because you want to show respect for them. But the Academy's like, well, it's kind of boring, so go fuck yourself, everyone that helped. Just take the shiny trophy and go home. It's like it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't. But it's like I feel like you're basically saying, yeah, we don't give a shit about the respect you're gonna give. We just want you to look on stage, look pretty, give us a couple views, and get the fuck out.
You know what? On that jest, Alan, because I think that this is a pretty good segue. We just want to thank Ryan Walterson for getting this for Jet. So Jet's birthday was, a couple of weeks ago. I was gonna say a day, but I'm like, I'm probably gonna fuck that up. I could just feel it in my bones. February 19th.
But just don't commit to it. Just say her birthday passed recently.
Yeah, but no, here it is right here. Once again, thank you so much, Ryan. But Jet, like, can you explain why this was a gift? Because to most people, this is some ridiculous shit.
This would be target practice for adrenaline.
Because I find Cat in the Hat fucking hilarious.
I don't know why you like that movie.
Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, it's like, man, like I understand, like look at these because like they're kind of funny, or whatever. But like I've seen Double Toasted review this and the retro review and everything too. It's not fucking funny. It's really, really annoying. Like I cannot stand that fucking movie. And Jet is a questionable being. So
well, I don't know. I'm sorry. I found like the majority of that movie fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Every time we watch that movie, I bust out laughing, just like with Mean Girls.
By the way, can I just ask you a question too? By the way, what the fuck is that? Look at that.
Look, man.
Ugly ass.
The less questions you ask, the happier you'll be.
God damn, man. I mean, your setup looks beautiful. I mean, I love this whole thing. I like the nice fucking. We call that like. I mean, well, the background, from the computer, or whatever. It's like. We call it, it's casting like a vibrant fucking color and everything else, which is nice. But then you just kind of like get confused by that or get distracted by it, and you look over here and it's like, that's fucking weird. And then like this fucking thing over here is weird. Like, what's this shit? That's the thing. I think you showed it in the After Hours or something recently. And
that's my little Bluetooth speaker thing that also lets you play games on, and also has like pixel like art on it.
So when are you gonna like put on your camera and actually get people to see like your whole room setup and everything? Well, I'm gonna put you on the spot on that one, Jet.
Once I get some figures sent in, once I put up some pictures, once I finish putting up that shelf, I gotta put up some lights, the usual. I have a perfect place to put this Cat in the Hat. It's gonna go right in between some other figures, and it's gonna look amazing.
Yeah, she's starting to accumulate kind of a collection here, which is actually pretty cool. Get Monk to saying, yeah, that's gotta be collectible. No, it definitely is. But goddamn, I'm just looking.
I don't know why you'd want to, but sure.
But you have like a kind of I don't know if you have a picture at the ready, so sorry to put you on the spot, Alan. But you actually have a pretty crazy collection too, with your like keychain thingies and whatnot. Do you have a picture of those to kind of show off really quick? Just out of curiosity, you don't really have to if you don't want to.
No, I don't have a photo. I'll just bring the fucking bag out.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, but it's like, I mean, Chad, let us know, like, what are some things that you guys collect? If you guys have pictures or whatever, and they're not of some penis or something, I will definitely show it on stream too. I want to actually give everyone a chance, especially in the chat, to kind of showcase what they got collecting. For me, I can't necessarily show my collection, but I have lots of wrestling memorabilia. I got the WrestleMania 2010.
All dildos.
Yeah, the dildos, with Stone Cold's face at the end of it too, so his head goes first. Like, no.
That's weird.
Yeah. 2? Why you got one?
What?
Don't you say what to spit the Stone Cold fucking thing. What? God damn it. Bad Boy says, I don't even care for Candy Hat, old cartoons. Grinch has always been my favorite Seuss character. Yeah, the Grinch is great, especially
Grinch is also fucking hilarious. I find that movie hilarious, and if I got to figure that too, that'd be amazing.
Bad Boy said I collected Goosebumps books back in the 90s. Man, Goosebumps books were the shit.
Those books are comedies in some cases. Like the way that some of that shit ends is ridiculous, but that TV show was horrifying.
The TV show was horrifying. The music of the TV show was horrifying. But I fucking love Goosebumps. Like, this was great. This guy was definitely creepy, but then again, it's like one of those Jet situations where, like, I beat his fucking ass.
No, see, now, Slappy's a different story, because I got a story about his ass.
Well, what happened with you and Slappy? What's going on with that?
You fight him?
Now that I'm grown, I would want to beat his ass, but part of my, younger self is kind of like, eh. So, when I was younger shit, probably like 4 or 5. I was staying at my grandma's house, right? And my brother, who lives with my grandma, he was into Goosebumps. And for some reason, someone decided, oh, it'd be really great to give this fucking, I don't know how old he was at the time. He was like in either middle school or high school. Give this kid a life-size fucking Slappy doll, right?
That sounds horrifying, because that's very easily accessible.
So I'm just in his room, right, like going through his games and everything. All of a sudden, he's just like, "Oh, hey, Jet," and I'm just like, "Yeah." I turn around, this fucking life-size puppet that I just got finished seeing the actual movie from. He's just holding, and I got so scared. I started crying,
Yep.
And I ran to my grandma like, "Oh my God, you brought actual Slappy into this house. I'm supposed to spend the night here, and that puppet's here. He's gonna fucking kill me."
That's just as scary as this fucking thing. I'm a cat that can talk. Bravo, cat! Just looking directly at you, all fucking scary and shit. I can see that being just as terrifying as Slappy. Okay. Let me go ahead and let Roxy in here. But before we continue on and talking to Roxy, you, Alan, let's show your whole thing, sir.
Alrighty, I'll try to see if I can get as much of the shit in there because it's gonna be very difficult because of the screen that I have to show this on. But yeah, I have a lot of random bullshit stuff on there. I'm gonna try to angle this, but yeah. I don't carry this bag anymore because when the pandemic hit, I didn't really go out that much at all. So I used to just buy these almost every paycheck. I have a ton of those ones. The one that started it all was this one over here, where I was just like, that's kind of cool. It's from Fantastic Beasts. And then I went and just got a bunch of other ones, like Mega Man ones too. Like, there's a lot of cool ones randomly here. It makes a lot of fucking noise, so I have to be very careful where I put them, or it's like...
Yeah. It's not like you have a bunch of quarters and shit on you or whatever. It's like, get him!
Oh yeah, get jumped by homeless people.
Yep.
Oh.
I mean, I would have said like someone who has a job would steal. I mean, I don't know. It sounds like a lot of fucking ka-ching.
Nah, get jumped by homeless people.
Okay, so Roxy, really quick, let's just pretend we're not friends with Alan. Is that some nerdy, silly shit that you'd bully him for, or is it pretty cool?
Alan, I love you, but it's
Man, fuck you.
dirty.
I don't give a goddamn. I'm sorry. I don't care. I didn't do this because I'm like I'm gonna be the coolest guy in the world. Like my bag was just kind of boring because it's just one solid color. Like why don't I just put a couple keychains on there?
Hear me out. It's cool because you get to see all of your likes, all of your interests, and you kind of get like a glimpse into who you are as a person. But then you look like a big fucking dork because wherever you walk around, I hear quarters and shit. Like, do you realize how many homeless people would like hear that shit and come up running to you?
Yeah, I know. No. Don't worry. That was not lost on me. That's why I'm very careful where I place them because I place them kind of strategically. Like I used to do it like I do kind of a little bit based on like this one is for games, this one's anime, this one's a specific game. But I also have to be careful where I kind of put them in there because they'll start kind of clanking into each other. So I try to have a plastic one to kind of limit it. Like it limits as much as you think you can.
So really quick, JJ Pan and Lucuro, Austin and Black Knight, what's up, everybody? How you guys doing? I've been seeing you guys the entire time. It's just, I'd be kind of doing so many things on my end that, it's kind of hard to be as interactive as I want to, but we're going to definitely be as interactive as we possibly can. Really quick, though, Ryan brought up something, and I'm going to get to you, Roxy. So really quick, the question is, the topic is, what are some collectibles that you have and that you've been building for a very long time? But Ryan said that he collects, or has collected, the Disney Adventures magazines from the 2000s. Pretty cool. I think that's actually, for me, I think it's nerdy. I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to kiss your ass that much. I think this shit's nerdy as fuck. But I would imagine that these are kind of hard to go back and get and buy, especially in good condition. So that's actually pretty impressive, dude. It's actually a good idea that you decided to do that. I do the same thing with Game Informer stuff. I have like 2 years worth chronologically of just Game Informers from like 2007 to like 2009. So yeah, I love collecting shit like that too, just because of the fact too that they're like they're stuck within the age they came out too. So it's almost nice to go back and kind of like time travel a little bit.
Yeah.
But Roxy, how about you though? Is there any collectibles that you have you've been building for a long time?
Well, I still have my Pokemon cards from back in the day.
Oh
I have like a
shit!
special folder and everything for them. The same thing with like the Neopets cards they used to get from McDonald's.
They were Neopets
And-
cards?
Yeah, and I got Yu-Gi-Oh cards too.
I haven't heard
Fuck, that's
Neopets
actually-
in such a long time.
It's funny, dude. It's so weird because we've been talking about this lately. Because we're all going through tax, issues right now. There's a tax beast right here. I'm joking, but
What?
I know. I'm just fucking. I just saw tax beast. Like that's hilarious. But earlier today, inside of our private call, we were talking about Neopets, and it's weird that this is like the second time it came up, and I haven't heard of Neopets in like a year or 2 years now. Like it's been a long time. Since
Oh, it's been longer than that. But then that is straight up a ripoff of Magic the Gathering. How the fuck did they get away with that?
Everything's a little similar, though. I'm gonna be honest. Like I
No,
mean,
like that's like Yu-Gi-Oh cards are they're almost a little bit like that is almost exactly the same as that. Like I'm looking at it, I legitimately thought those were shitty Magic cards.
but no, I like the design of these cards, by the way, too. I like the top layer or whatever, like the higher first or whatever they call it. I think it's pretty cool. And by the way, I didn't know this, but apparently there was some shit going on with Plants vs Zombies having trading cards. Do you guys know about that?
Fucking no. The only thing I did that trading cards was Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, and Magic.
Yeah, let me look this up because I could be wrong, guys. I mean, I'm kind of a dummy sometimes, but let me see if I can
Kind of.
find them. And yeah, look at here they are right here, Plants vs Zombies trading cards. That is really
I
cool.
mean, sometimes they do trading cards for like very popular things as like really more collectibles. They're not like a situation where it's like you can actually like battle and build decks and stuff. I know you can, but it's more ceremonial. It's less of like, oh, we have actual strategies. More just like, we're gonna kind of fuck around just so you have these in your house.
Let me see here. E-Mike. So, and this is actually really trending, so don't worry, you're not changing subject too much, and we'll go back into what we're talking about, too. I think I've gotten really good about reverting right back to the same conversation. But E-Mike says, hey, Diaz, I'm sorry to bring this up because I know Alan hates it, but people are saying that Christian's going to be heading to AEW on tonight's Revolution pay-per-view. I don't know if they're going to change his name to Kate or something like it was in TNA. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but I will say I do like Christian possibly going over there to AEW. I think people are not going to care as much about it. I think that the really big thing they need to do is CM Punk or Brock Lesnar or someone really, really big like that, because if it's somebody who is not that important like Christian, no one's going to give a fuck about WWE or AEW. They're going to be like, okay, no more promises from you motherfuckers. I don't give a shit. Alan just left. He's just like, I can't take this anymore. He walked into the logo and behind it.
I actually didn't think you'd notice if I got up, so.
No, but that was fucking beautiful. It was perfect.
Well, I'm out.
He's like, yeah, but like Christian, and I don't know if you're talking about Double Christian or a wrestler that no one knows Christian, but I'm getting the fuck out of here either way.
No, I was thinking of photo because I'm waiting for it till I get more money. But something I want to collect is I want to get the physical. I want to get at least one physical copy of every version of RE4 that's ever come out.
Oh, I hate that you're doing that. But do you have like what's
I
the
have
most?
two.
What's the most rarest one do you think you have right now?
I don't think many people know it came out on the Wii.
Oh yeah, I think that's pretty well known. But yeah, I mean, for one, that's totally not the one you guys should play. I'm pointing out there right now. Why don't you tell your story real
Oh,
quick?
probably. I liked it, but I mean, it's like the thing is like I was looking through and I have a bunch in my cart. So I'm gonna get the PS2, PS4, Xbox One. They never made a physical version of the 360 or PS3 or any of the two PC versions. So once I get those and the Switch version, which is a triple pack, I basically have the physical releases for that game.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. It's never gonna be complete until you get that Resident Evil 4 Nokia game.
It actually isn't specifically called Resident Evil 4. What it is they took, it came out around the same time, but it was a specific one made for the phone game. It's called Resident Evil something. I looked into it a little bit. It's actually like, I think it is also starring Leon, but it's actually Degeneration. It has Leon, but it's a completely different thing they just built for that phone. So it's like, it doesn't really count.
I will say I played this on some really wonky ass emulator once, and this was like in 2012, so I don't even know how they're able to emulate something because Nokia was relatively new around that time. And yeah, dude, I played it, and I gotta tell you, like, if it wasn't for the horrible frames and the fact that it's a Nokia phone, this would have been a really good fucking game. I literally would not put this in my worst of Resident Evil games at all. I mean, yeah, it fucking plays terribly, but what they were trying to do, this was technically what people wanted from Resident Evil 4, because people were kind of upset that there was no zombies. You know what I mean? And I think like that would have been really fucking cool. Brightburn saying, do you collect short-lived TV shows like NBC's John Constantine? So I collect them. Well, here's the thing. Like, does he mean collect them like and then download them and you leave them on your hard drive until they like catch like digital webs?
I think he means like getting the physical like DVDs of like the only season. Like the show had one season, so someone just fucking gets it. I'm like, not really.
Yeah. Oh, here's something going on. Some kind of raid over here. Vanisphere, thank you for raiding us, man. Really, really appreciate that. You are the shit, good sir. Thank you so much. I gotta change my raid thingy too, by the way. Maybe I should put like that song on raid. Something on the dance floor.
No, we'll just play the first 10 minutes of the raid.
Yeah. Okay. Or should I have like a bottle, like an air raid bottle, and like it's shooting cockroaches or something?
That'd be a terrible. What?
You read my fucking mind.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, dude. Like,
Hey!
oh, cockroaches!
Guys, it's not crackhead hours for another 8 hours.
Roaches!
Dude, I'm telling you. We said it's not crackhead hours. There's always crack.
I mean, maybe you went and started early on crackhead hours.
Thank you.
Remix.
By the way, last night, Alan, I love it when you do crackhead hours or owl hours, which I don't even understand what the fuck that means.
That one, I'll explain the story after you finish yours.
Well, the thing is, though, is I read it last night, and he goes, yeah, crackhead hours and owl hours, me and all my homies.
Crackhead hours. Who cares about spelling?
Why the fuck? Dude.
When have you ever cared about spelling in the first
Yeah, but I'm
place?
using it to an excuse. So fuck you.
I'm just like, damn, dude. Like, but what's your thing with the crackhead hours? Let people know because maybe you guys can talk to him when he's doing crackhead hours and he has nothing to do.
I don't know where I heard this phrase because whenever I bring it up, everyone has their own different version, like lurking or the owl hours came out. Someone was just kind of like, not necessarily complaining, but just brought it up. It's like, why is this gotta be crackhead hours? I'm like, okay, owl hours, fuck it, because owls are up at this time. So it became as a kind of joke to that. But like, I don't know where I heard the phrase from. Someone randomly said, "Oh, 3 a.m." Like, why are you going out at crackhead hours? And I found that to be so fucking hilarious that usually if I'm up then I'm editing, or I'm playing video games and I just don't feel like sleeping. So I'm just like, well, who else is up? Because there's so many different time zones that some people are just going to be up just because it's like, yeah, it's always crackhead hours somewhere, but it's like, there are people that live on the East and West Coast where it's like, it's different times. So it's like, ah, fuck it, I'm up at 3 in the morning.
Yeah,
Who's
some
up?
people are getting coffee. You're like, I'm a crackhead? What the fuck? Like,
hey, the people that respond, like,
it's 3 in the morning. It's time to go to Walmart.
exactly.
Hey,
oh, dude,
you
back in the
joke.
day, yeah.
You joke, but every time I do crackhead hours, the same 5 people are there. So
And they're all on crack now. And they're my homies.
Yeah, they're my homies.
They're my homies, as somebody said that she said. Where my homies at? Sebastian. Mary Joanna, happy Sunday to all you fine people. Hey, happy Sunday to you too. And Debo Jr. Debo, dude, by the way, be careful with Corey today. I don't want you to do a thing where you say some shit like, move on the show, Corey. And then he yells at you. I feel bad for you every time he does that.
Guys, quick rule of thumb. Don't ever tell a podcast host to move on.
Yeah, because they'll stay within the same thing and they'll fuck with you and use you as
They will call you the fuck out.
I feel like, and Debo knows, by the way, I feel like I'm talking about real Debo, by the way. Like, he's over there just chilling and he's like on the bike just walking around.
Rest in peace, by the way.
Yeah, man, I laughed at that. That's fucked up.
Yeah, that guy's dead.
Yeah, no, I loved it because that shit hurt me too. Tony, or Tiny Lister, you know, I think his name is Tony, but yeah, Tony Lister.
At least Gene came politely. He said, "Move on, Alan."
Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate it, sir.
Oh, yeah. I don't know I can't remember who did the other day where it's like, guys, get over the top. I was like, go fuck yourself. How about that?
Yeah, no, but Corey will like literally stop the show and be like, "Hey, don't you ever fucking tell me what the fuck to do, motherfucker?" I'm like, "Whoa, shit."
Austin and then say, please move the show. Where would you like us to move it? We can go to Facebook if you want.
Yeah.
Push.
We can fucking do that
Just
shit.
push the fucking show.
Go to Mixer or Mixler, whatever the fuck it was. Troy Gates, he says, just tell them to stick it to the topic if you want them to move on. Exactly, that's what you should fucking do, and then they'll just be like, okay. By the way, too, it's like,
hey, can you keep going on the topic? Well, now that you said it, I'm just gonna do the opposite, because fuck you.
yeah. The thing is, too, is like with Corey, sometimes they'll do that. They'll be like, you know, move on the topic, and I'm kind of like, you know, you guys do know that, like, if you're watching on Twitch, you kind of want the most for your money, especially if you're paying for a subscription. Yeah. So wouldn't you want them to, like, squeeze the fuck out of every topic and make it, like, a fun thing? Like,
it depends, because there's going to be certain topics that people don't give a fuck about. Now, remember when I, walked out, I didn't think you would notice, but, like, for instance, if we just talk about the rest of about 30 minutes, I don't really know about that. And let's say I'm watching in chat, like, well, I don't really give a fuck. So it's like, it is very rude at the end of the day, but the mentality is, well, this topic I don't care or I stopped caring. Can you talk about some of the other stuff? Or let's say it's a review. It's like, well, the other movie you're going to review, I actually think is more interesting. Can you finish up with this current topic? That's really the mentality is you want to get to the more interesting stuff. It's less quality and more, it's less quantity and more quality.
Yeah, and Tebow says they talk about drinks for an hour. We've done the same thing with some shit too, though.
We've done worse. We spent 15 minutes to just talk about random bullshit we have in our rooms.
Or Pizza Hut. Like, I remember we talked about pizza and just, like, the whole fucking, like, lack of cheese situation. Everyone disagrees with me about.
Yeah.
Talk about pooping dicks a lot.
Yeah, but stupid question. Have you ever been so wrong about something that you just kind of think that it's like, maybe it's just me? Like, everyone tells
Please
you.
clip that. Please clip that. Please clip that.
There are like 90 people. Someone's gonna clip that. Come on, I know for a fact that you also felt that way too, Nick. That maybe you're wrong.
I felt it a little bit recently, me personally. You know the surgical masks?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What is the correct way to put it on? So there's like a lighter blue side and then like a dark blue side.
Okay.
I've seen people wear it both ways. And the one thing I hear is, well, doctors wear it this way, so I wear it this way. And then other people are just like, hey, follow the seam. So which is it?
Okay, actually, it really works better when there's two different color sides, because when the masks I get and the one we got from my old job, my manager said blue to the sky, so blue facing out. But if you're talking about with a mask with two different blues, well, that's going to be very, very difficult. Usually they say inside, but usually the white part is facing towards your mouth and the blue is out. That's usually the way. But also it depends on the metal part that you kind of bend. You can kind of see where the seam is and where it kind of rests. But like for the most part, like in all honesty, it doesn't really matter as much as you think.
Yeah, well, shit, yeah.
Platinum wave. What about all black mask? That's the thing. It really doesn't matter that much, unless it's the thing is, doctors and healthcare professionals like Roxy are very. They have very particular masks. They're actually different than the cloth masks that people use. They're much more efficient. They have a particular way you have to wear them to catch moisture and make sure the bacteria doesn't spread. So her question is way more legitimate than just random guy on the street.
Yeah. So I got a fucking fat boy story, and it's really good.
Did you eat a mask?
No, so.
Bring it.
So I had because all I have is black masks because I want to be goth apparently, and I only wear black all the fucking time. So
you only wear black and gray. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's almost like I don't know. I got like emotional issues with.
You wear white sometimes, but it's
when
with black and gray.
I don't wear white underwear. You think I walk around with fucking chonies and shit? Like just fucking.
What the fuck does that mean?
Wait, hold on.
It means that when you get them wet, they show off everything.
Also, too, well, when I say dun too, I think like they look like fucking super. This is a George Lopez bit, but it's like it looks like you're a fucking superhero. Like, look at me, Captain.
Damn it, Gene!
Thank you so much, Gene. You're the shit, bro. But the thing is, though, is before we continue on, I gotta get because this might be clippable too. Alan, what kind of underwear do you wear? I just realized how weird that sounded. I'm sorry.
Sorry, what? I went to watch the clip, but what the fuck did you say?
Nothing. You're a great guy. No.
I don't believe a word out of your mouth.
Can I guess? Can I guess?
Yeah. What kind of underwear?
I feel you're like a flannel boxer type.
You're talking to me or him?
You.
No, I don't. I'll show you my underwear.
Wait, no. Wait, hold on. Where is this going?
I was just gonna grab some underwear.
I mean, as long as they're clean, it should be fine. It's not like vulgar, I guess.
I'm not gonna sit there and take my pants off like while I'm sitting. Just.
Well, here's the thing. So, I wear black everything, essentially. So I have my fucking black mask, and I can't tell which side to do it. The same thing with what Roxy was talking about with the surgical masks.
Sure.
So I was like, fuck, man, I hate playing all these things. And the thing is one day I was going out to Walmart or whatever, and there were some donuts. And I'm like, dude, I fucking love donuts. So I ate some donuts, and I head out right away because my lift came early. I didn't know, but I have donut dust all over my fucking mouth. So when I put the face mask on... the donut powder stuck on one side.
Oh no.
And normally you'd be like, oh man, that sucks. But I'm really, really happy because now I know what side to put it on now. Like
wait, you got a stain on it and you're like, fuck it, this will work out.
Yeah, like I haven't washed it because I'm like, yo, like now I know what side.
No, you need to wash those like
It's
daily.
only been a week, by the way. Yeah.
You haven't washed it in a week?
Well, because I've only been out twice. Stop judging me, man.
No, I'm
With your
gonna
white
continue
underwear.
to judge you. That's like saying, I don't have to shower. I only went out once.
What? No, but because that's not the same thing because you're still wearing your clothes when you're not
Fuck
going
you.
out. I'm not gonna wear my mask inside the house. I'm gonna take it off. It's like laying down on something, around Febreze and Clorox, guys, just before you make fucking jokes.
Nah,
Whatever the fuck.
he just keeps it on his head.
Yeah, with hair all over it and everything.
Pretty much.
But no, but I gotta tell you, dude, I think I want to buy like a white marker and just kind of paint it. Every time, after every wash, you just fucking write it down right there. Boom, there you go.
The thing is, I just cut the minimum now. Just get the fucking for like $20. You can get like 50 of the surgical, basically the N95 surgical masks, and it's like a blue and white side, and blue goes out. And honestly, just throw them at the end of the day. Like I really don't like the whole reusable cloth mask. I'm like, one, the cloth masks aren't as good, and two, it's like I don't really have the time to sit there and wash it out every fucking day. I'm just like, fuck it, just toss it out when I'm done. Like,
yeah. But I don't know, man. Either way, though, it's just fucking, yeah, it's kind of crazy. Lucky Dog Podcast, be sure to wear your mask even in the shower. Dude, one time I almost did that. Like, I was basically just washing my face, because I always wash my face and hands when I come home, but I still had the mask on, and I just went, and I was like, what the fuck? And, yeah, it was pretty stupid. Anyways, here's the thing, though. So many things to talk about. We're going to wait till after Corey starts to talk about WandaVision, because if we say spoilers now, then it's going to ruin what they got going on tonight, and et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to talk about some other things first. I want to talk to you, Alan, about this fucking movie, Raya and the Last Dragon. And really quick, thank you very much for subscribing, Baraquajen. I hopefully said that fucking name right. I think I messed it up.
I am 100% sure you fucked that up.
Okay, then you know what? How you say it?
I'm not gonna fucking fuck it up.
Baroque Jen?
Yeah, Barakajan. Barakajan.
Baroque.
I'll call you up fucking it up, and then
Baroque
yeah, I'll fuck it
period?
up too. I just didn't commit.
Yeah, you're a dick. Anyways, you asshole. I'm going to give you a chance. 'Cause I've been talking up a storm. People don't want to hear me talk the entire fucking time. So I'm going to ask you, man, what'd you feel about Raya and the Last Dragon, especially the trailer and everything? Because, yeah, we haven't really talked about being hyped to watch this. It kind of just, for me at least, it kind of like sprung on me out of nowhere. So what were you expecting, and how'd you feel just originally? And tell people what it's about, too, if you can.
I have absolutely no fucking idea because I didn't watch the fucking trailer.
Oh, really?
I legitimately didn't want to watch a single trailer because I'm like, oh, no, DC animated movie, whatever. And then we just kind of randomly watched it after we were watching a bunch of movies. And my buddy's like, hey, let's watch it. I was like, fuck it, why not? I know nothing about it. And we're watching it right now, and immediately, like, as we're kind of checking it out, it's like, it has a lot of, like, Avatar, The Last Airbender vibes, like, a lot of them. Even the kind of opening. And we were kind of watching it, and it's like, yeah, basically what it is, oh, fuck, it's hard to even just kind of describe. Basically, it's like the whole, hey, when the land was peaceful, all this shit, dragons were around, all this cool shit was happening, and people were kind of peaceful. But then, you know, this gigantic, like, invasion of these weird smoke creatures happened, and the dragons sacrificed themselves to protect humanity. But instead of everyone coming together, they said, well, fuck it, we want this last gem because we want the power that it comes with. And it split everyone up into their territories and shit. So this movie's like, hey, well, what if we try to all work together and get back to that? But unfortunately, that doesn't happen. Things get fucked up. And we go to essentially Mad Max world for, like, a majority of this movie. I really had no expectations besides, well, I mean, Soul just came out, so I'm like, you better be good as looking at Soul, because Soul was immaculate. And it manages to nail that. Like, the Moana water physics is getting a fuck ton of, like, use in, like, so many fucking movies. With, like, good thing we mastered water in Moana, because we're using it everywhere.
Yeah, and I think that's a pretty cool thing, too, and I'm glad that they did that here. But at the same time, like, looking at this, I kind of felt like this was pretty typical as far as, like, a Disney, whatever the fuck type thing. Like, as far as, like, dealing with that region of location, too, and that culture. Because, to be honest, like, there is things that this differentiates from as far as, like, Disney princesses, blah, blah, blah. There's no musical here, which I'm so fucking glad that there's not a musical. Like, holy shit, that's so awesome. But, Jay, I'm going to ask you really quick. I think one of the most important things about any kind of, like, Disney animated whatever the fuck feature is how it looks. What you feel about how it looked, and did you expect it to look this good? Because we saw the trailer before, obviously, and I don't know if you watched it back then when it first released. But what'd you feel when you first got into it?
I tend not to watch trailers anymore. Not because, like, I don't want to. I just forget. But honestly, no. Like, I expected the movie to look beautiful, and it does. Like, I'm not surprised at all. Like, Disney movies usually look fantastic.
Now, the biggest thing about this, too, is, like, as beautiful as it looks, do you feel like this movie kind of, like, the quality of storytelling and things like that kind of match? Because I feel like this kind of took a while to get started for me personally, but what'd you feel like? At what point did you decide, okay, you know what, I'm liking this or I'm disliking this?
It's hard to say. I mean, I wasn't really completely into the movie. I thought it was basically just average. But I think it actually starts to pick up once a certain character is introduced. You know, I don't think that's spoilers. Once the dragon's actually introduced.
Oh, that's where it picks up for you? Nah.
I'll be talking to Corey really quick, but Alan, continue on. I am so sorry.
Degree of Jet, once that baby gets introduced, I was like, this is fucking awesome.
That baby was fucking annoying. Like,
Man, fuck you. That baby was awesome. That baby kicks her freaking ass.
all the side characters were annoying in this movie. Like, I wasn't really connected to any of them.
Oh, I disagree. I liked all the side characters. I kind of like. I'm not saying like I agree that this movie's very, very average, but I think it really just it was more of its visual flair that I think it was trying to sell us on. Because like the story basically kind of average. Hey, we fucked up. Now we got to travel this world to kind of connect all these pieces to try to bring the world back. Basically, Moana. This is almost the same kind of plot, but not as interesting. But a lot of what was going on was just like, yeah, I like a fun action romp. It's a road trip movie, basically. And they introduce all these characters, and each one of them has a weird, quirky personality and has a hilarious... Like, that baby has a hilarious fucking set piece that I was rooting for that kid the whole fucking time. That baby's like fucking 2 years old, and she's like fighting people and kicking people's asses. I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah, dude. The baby was funny as shit, and I was not expecting it to be so fluent. Like I thought it was gonna look really silly with this baby doing shit, but like it made sense within the physics of this movie and what they've kind of already showed before this part. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
The gem situation too, I thought was cool. And every bit. So here's the biggest thing that I want to talk about here, because we can review this movie and spoil it and blah blah blah. But I feel like lots of people are already gonna be doing that. I think Corey did that a couple of days ago, so it's like whatever.
Sure.
But the thing is like this movie costs $30 premium access on Disney Plus, and
Yep.
I hate that, and I hated that with Mulan, and I know, like, last night I was talking to Patrick Gertz and some other people, too, and everyone kind of said the exact same thing of, like, this is bullshit, we gotta stop, finding ways to defend Disney when they do this shit, because it's some scumbaggy fuck shit. But I'm thinking about this, and it's like, look, any adult here, and Alan, I know you're gonna correct me, and I understand, but
I already have.
Well, the thing is, like, I feel so strongly in my belief of this, so if you think I'm wrong, we'll just disagree. But, like, this is a kid movie, man. This is an animated Disney Plus kid movie, and the thing is like you're never gonna, no grown person, especially a grown man, is gonna go and watch this by himself unless he has something else going on in his life. Not to judge on that, but that's just the way it is.
They're horribly depressed, they're fat and lazy, and have nothing else going on with their lives. Yeah,
I can't believe you feel that way, Alan. It's fucked up. But the thing is, though,
you're an asshole.
But the thing is, though, it's like, considering that, let's just do a little bit of math here. You take the fucking, and let's just pretend that we're not using cars, okay? Most people use lifts nowadays, blah, blah, it is what it is. That's how my life is, at least. You gotta spend at least $5 to get to the fucking theater. You gotta get candy, you gotta get soda, you gotta get popcorn, you gotta get the ticket itself. And then, keep in mind, you're at this inconvenient place, risking death, you know what I mean? But, like, with all that money spent, you're spending at least $27 to most realistically, $40. And you're... That's
okay, Nick. Like I understand what you're trying to go at, but like when a lot of people when they consume a product, they don't necessarily include, and depending on your opinion if that's right or wrong, they don't necessarily include the getting there. They're including essentially when you sit down in the theater, just is it worth the price of admission to sit there and watch it? Because there's going to be different methods of doing that, and it's like, for instance, if you got a shitty movie for free, does that make the movie better because you paid nothing to watch? It's like, no, you still judge it based on the quality of what you get. $30 is pretty steep to, especially if you're already paying for the service. If you're paying like $10, $50 for Disney Plus, paying essentially 2 months for a movie that you'll be able to keep forever, that tends to rub people the wrong way. If it was a situation where if it was $15 and you could just get the movie and all you have to do is make an account, you wouldn't have to pay for monthly, and you could just get the movie, maybe people would be a little bit more lenient because like, okay, I just pay essentially 1 month to get it. I don't have access to Disney Plus. I have access to this one movie. I think people will be a little bit more lenient, but it's the fact that it's like it's 2 paywalls to watch one movie.
Well, because TD meant this, he says AMC A-list, how to alleviate some of those problems, which is true. And I don't know if that actually costs a lot. I think it's like $2 a month or something. I mean, it depends on whatever chain you go to. But the thing is, though, it's like, for me, and I don't know how different it is over there in Canada or, Roxy Lives or Jet, but for me, it's $13 per person. So you bring somebody else with you, boom, it's $13 right there. And with Disney Plus, the thing that I'm thinking about is like, I get to pause it, I get to rewind it, I get to fast forward it, I get to record it with, my XSplit broadcaster or whatever particular thing I have. And then, I get to use it for shows and everything too. I think that's a pretty premium access, and that's literally the name of the Disney Plus thing, like premium access. You get this fucking thing. And $30. Yeah, this movie's not really worth $30. But to say like, I want to go to the theater and watch this movie, fuck $30 from my house. It's like, well, hold on, like you're mad because it's cheaper than what you were planning on doing anyways. Like that's a little ridiculous to me.
But I think it's like, again, like I understand the mentality, the logic you're going with is the getting there would be essentially the same price as this movie that you get to keep in your house. But it's like a situation. It's like, well, let's do it with Blu-rays because essentially that's what it is with digital medium. When you go and get a Blu-ray, people are like, "What?" Like it's like paying $100 for a Blu-ray. It's like, yeah, I get to keep it. Yeah, there's all these extra features, but you're charging me an exorbitant amount for a Blu-ray. This is a situation that's happening here where it's like you're essentially charging people for 3 months to watch a movie. And yes, you get to watch as many times as you want with your friends, all that jazz. Come for your own home, cool. But they're essentially taking advantage of the fact that people are going to want to do that because of some of the reasons you brought up. It's like no one wants to go to the movie theaters. They want to watch this with their kids. Yes, I might save a lot of money. So they're like, well, evening it out. And this is an expensive-ass movie. This is a ridiculously expensive-ass movie. Like, it's probably $200 million easily for this movie. So they're like, well, we want to make some fucking money off this shit. You know, because we know we're not going to get away with this with Soul. They'll fucking burn down the studios if we do that shit. But Mulan in this movie, yeah, fuck it, who cares?
Yeah, and then here's the thing too.
I
It's
feel
like,
bad for anyone who paid $30 to see Mulan.
yeah, that's one thing.
Some
Where it's like,
people did.
well, here's the biggest thing, because Jed, that's a fucking. Thank you so much for bringing it up, because like for me with Mulan, I think that, and this is just subjective, obviously, but like it's a live action movie that looks good, but it's like there's a lot of live action movies that look good, and I don't feel like that movie was theatrical in any sense at all, even though there's some parts that subjectively might be really cool to somebody else, but whatever. With this, I think that like personally, when I was watching this movie, and granted I saw it in really good quality and everything, but I was like, I kind of wish, like, if there's any movie that's worth going to the theater, let's just pretend that, it's not as risky, even though it totally is. And people, please don't put the fucking theatrical experience over your health. It's fucking stupid. Don't do that. But the thing is, though,
fuck you, Charlie Shields.
yeah. Well, because somebody in the chat here, like Space Cowboy, he did it. And granted, they are doing lots of stuff on his theater that makes it safe. But still, like, if you felt like it was not safe, like, don't just stay there because you whatever the fuck. It's like, don't. Yeah, I worry about people who do that shit because I actually do care about some of y'all, just some. But like with this fucking movie, I think that there was enough visual stuff here and sound design. God damn, the sound design is so fucking good in this movie that I'm like, this would have been really good to go. Like, I missed the theater when I watched this. I was like, man, I would have went to go see this. I really would, and it would have been cool.
I disagree, but I will give you one thing. The fight choreography in this is fucking stupendous.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Like what they're doing with the 3D models, like I literally could see underneath it, and I could see the people fighting. Like they just got two motherfuckers and told them to fight, put the fucking bump mapping balls all over them, and said fuck it, fight, and then just animated that. Because I'm like, that is fucking spectacular, and it's like it's very similar to Soul, where it's like, hey, the levels are immaculate, the water's fantastic. I don't know how the fuck they keep managing to fucking animate sand to look like real sand and real rocks. It's ridiculous to me. But at the end of the day, I have to agree with the people. I would not have paid. I would not have paid $30 to see this. I probably wouldn't even watch it in theaters. I would have waited for it to be on a streaming service for cheaper. I think that Disney's basically calculating how much people are willing to pay to keep it at home versus how much anger they might get, and they're essentially playing the calculus because like they tried this with Mulan, it didn't really work out because of both the price tag and the anti-China sentiment. So they said, "Fuck it, we're not doing that to Soul. Well, let's do this to this and see what happens." They're basically kind of playing. They're essentially like throwing a line and seeing how many people bite. If this becomes viable, people are going to do it more often. If it doesn't, they won't.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, Jed, what do you feel about that? Like, pandemic aside, do you feel like if there was no risk, would you have wanted to spend a premium payment to see this in the movie theater with like the reclining chairs and the fucking soda and the snacks and all that shit?
I mean, it would have been really nice, but honestly, I think I would have preferred to watch this at home.
Okay, and that makes sense. I mean, we all have different ideas of like how you want to watch certain things. For me, I'm just thinking like in comparison to everything else because there hasn't been any movies. And by the way, like Tenet is another one of those situations where it's like you have to see this with this particular thing. I'm like, if I'm gonna be confused,
no, watch it at home with subtitles.
Yeah, thank you. It's like, and by the way, like you have to rewind some shit to understand. You're gonna have to watch it, and like I hate to say this too because the movie sucks, but that is a movie you need to watch numerous times. You know what I mean? At least twice.
And not for your enjoyment, just to understand the basic premise.
Yeah, which is an issue, but it's also a thing of like, it would have been better if the Tenant went straight to home, I'm looking at this, and it's like, yeah, I'm not saying this deserves numerous fucking watches or whatever, but like, this was something to really appreciate. And, as far as storylines and everything, no, I don't think that this was a very well done movie in that sense. I found a lot of the shit that happened here very predictable. I think that it had a very, very safe ending where I'm like, fuck, dude, like you're doing some stuff that kind of had me like, is this going to go a certain direction? Like, there's no musicals. It's not basic princess bullshit. Like, this is kind of cool. And then they kind of retorted to, no, it's Disney and we got to, make the kids happy.
The power of friendship. It has been a while since I've seen that be the solution to a problem.
Yeah. Well, yeah, 2017, I'll beat the villain with love. Yes, women power. The whole fucking thing. Sorry, Alan.
You're an asshole.
Fucking fucking silly. And then she rapes a guy in the sequel. Anyways, but much over here-
Doesn't, but sure.
but in this one, you know, once again, I don't think this is gonna be one of those movies that everyone goes back to and watches for a ton of time because it's not so fun. You know, it's not super funny like Shrek or whatever. And I don't even think those things are funny, but people seem to think so. This takes itself very seriously, and I want them to continue in this direction. I don't think this is something that really found its perfect spot as far as going with that tone. But I mean, yeah, there's a couple things that are a little cute. You know, I think the dragon's really funny. It's played by Aquafina, which, by the way, I'm such a fucking idiot, dude. I was telling Jay, I was like, I know that voice somewhere. I didn't want to say it out loud because I knew how stupid it was, but I thought it was Tiffany Haddish. And it's not. It's Aquafina, who, by the way, they sound nothing alike. But I'm
Yeah, what was I about to say? What the fuck? I actually hated the fucking. The moment that dragon showed up, I'm like, oh no, you're the funny, annoying. She's just playing Donkey from Shrek.
But she had to do something because this whole thing was so seriously toned.
Yeah, I didn't mind that. Motherfuckers are dying left and right through really, really well animated fucking smoke monsters. I'm like, yeah, cool. I'm not like her character comes in. I'm like, she does some interesting stuff. But the moment she comes in, it's like you're like, oh, we're subverting expectations. You're expecting this dragon to be super cool. She's actually a complete fucking idiot. I'm like, oh, great. We had another one of those.
Yeah, but she was still, I don't know. I feel like, you know, she was silly at first, and then.
And by the way, sorry, I'm gonna talk about Chris's movie. What time period is this movie in? Because half the dialogue here makes it no fucking sense. Oh, I'm a super nerd. How do you know what a nerd is?
Yeah, and that was very like trying to be cool with the kids. I remember like we were watching it, and Jet just like, cringe. Like she was just fucking like, yikes.
Oh man, I'm glowing. I don't need a nightlight anymore. Do you have a concept of electricity?
Well, really quick, Jet, was that distracting to you the entire time? Like, how long did it take you to kind of get used to this character, or were you kind of like the whole time like, oh god, stop with the cringy fucking dialogue?
Like I said before, I found everyone kind of annoying to a certain point. Like I didn't really care much for any of the side characters. Like she got less annoying as time went by when she stopped talking so much, which is like near the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I like the development with her, I guess, but like it was pretty little development.
It was
like,
development. We should trust everybody, and this causes so many problems until it doesn't. But she learned.
Yeah, that's actually something about this movie because the whole thing is about like the whole movie is technically about trust, and it's just like they don't really do a good job of basically showing that you should trust everyone.
It actually does the opposite. It actually tells you shouldn't trust anybody.
Yeah, which I mean, I feel like there's a lesson to be learned from that too, though. I think that there's, depending on the person who's actually watching this, whatever, I think that it will, you know, definitely, it'll satisfy both thought process, which is pretty cool. It's like, okay, now it's kind of inclusive as far as like ideologies go. By the way, the Ed Man, saw that you were streaming and everything too, dude. Really, really cool that you were doing that, and thank you for coming on over here. Pretty awesome to see you there. But yeah, if you guys actually do streams, like for anyone who's in the chat right now, let us know so we can raid you after our shows and shit. Because I do want to make sure to build you guys up as well. But anyways, yeah, man. You're right. You know, she was silly, and it was pretty typical of Disney shit. But at the same time, like, this would have been a bummer without that. And I think we gained up.
I liked every other character in this. I think the kid that fucking runs his own fucking shop was one of my favorite characters. Halfway through, I'm just like, he's the only reason you're surviving half of these. Somebody thank him. Like, they're taking advantage of him. They're eating all his fucking food. They're treating him like shit. I'm like, man, fuck all of you guys. It was awesome.
But I'm going to wrap up my particular review on this. You know, I know that we're not going even more so on just, like, the whole, like, storyline and everything, because there are some things that we're kind of missing here, but I think that you guys can kind of find that out in the trailer and everything. We're just talking about how it was. And for me, it's like, yeah, I think it was a 4 out of 5. I really, really like this. I really like the way it looked. I don't have a lot of negative things to say. That's not just because of my preconditions on Disney movies in general. Because, yeah, I'm a grown fucking man who likes boom, boom. I like Michael Bay shit, dude. Like, that's the fucking brain.
Yeah, that's how we define grown men.
Well, I mean, come on. Like, I mean, he's explosions, loud cars, explosions.
Well, man, explosions and objectifying women in cars, man.
Yeah, that's very grown madness. I mean, do grown women fucking treat women like that? Like, no. Like, only a grown asshole stinky man is like, yeah, dude, fucking bend over. Like, whatever the fuck. It's stupid. You know what I mean? But I mean,
no,
that's me. You know, I'm that audience. Not to sound like I'm an asshole. I'm not proud of it or anything.
You literally mentioned that 6 times. You're an asshole.
But the thing is, though, well, yeah. But I mean, you're gonna say it anyways. I'm trying to beat you to the fucking punch. The thing is, though, is like, you know, I like to go to the movie theater or watch a movie that's gonna take me out of just my I'm just sitting here doing nothing shit. And you know, this necessarily, it didn't necessarily do that for me. but at the same time, it's like I was expecting a lot more boring, a lot more story, a lot more like, oh, these wonderful happy moments. And for something that had a tone that was almost badass, and then, you know, obviously made its way to being just a typical fucking Disney thing, that's still good. They were somewhere within there. And I think they're kind of experimenting. I think that maybe in a couple of years they're going to do something else that's kind of like this, that's still like very serious toned. And if Disney can pull that off, like, who needs your rated R this and your MCU this, whatever? It's like, let's just do some good ass animated movies and, you know, keep it going. Like, I think it'll be cool. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But yeah, 4 out of 5 for me. But Jed, any last comments on what would you rate this movie?
I mean, overall, the movie looked absolutely amazing, like most Disney movies do. Like, I don't think I've seen a super ugly-looking 3D Disney movie. But the thing about this is, like, everyone besides maybe with the little boy character and maybe the toddler were kind of boring to me. Like, I don't think any of the side characters were that great to where, like, they needed to be in here. Mm-hmm. And, like, Raya herself really isn't that interesting. So just watching this is kind of just like, I don't really care for anyone. Dang, are you going to keep playing that while I'm talking? Yes.
Yes.
How does that matter?
She's going to beat somebody's ass right now.
Jesus Christ. But anyway, like, it's the movie itself, it's not a bad movie at all. It just kind of feels flat. I feel like they could have done way more with it. And the backstory of it, like how everything got started and like why everything is how it is. I feel like that took way too long. Yeah. As well.
Yeah, I think so too.
Even though this movie was almost 2 hours, I feel like they missed out on, how should I put this? It still needed a lot more.
Well, you think like the universe wasn't really like expanded or even like kind of opened up for people to say or to see?
Yeah, to be honest, like
because there's like a lot of like people.
Like, I wish I could have liked this more, but it's just kind of just run of the mill Disney to me. So, and with that, I'll give it a 3 out of 5.
That makes
sense. It's not
sense.
bad, but it's not like extraordinary.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I find that that's still a good thing. You know what I mean? Because it's like at least you know it's watchable and. I mean, I once again, I hate fucking blaming things on the pandemic or anything, but it's like, yeah, there's not a lot of shit coming out, and it's like, this actually sounds pretty cool, and like, hopefully, you know, when things get cleared up, they can look at something like this and be like, hey, like, now we're gonna base some things around what we did right with something like this, and what we did right with something like Mulan, which, by the way, I know people in this call do not like Mulan, but like, you know, for some people did dig it. Some people do dig it though, so it's like, you know, combine some of that and a little bit of this and blah blah blah. Maybe we can have some cool shit coming out within the next year or something like that. But who knows? Because Disney be doing some crazy shit sometimes. Now, really quick though, Alan, before we get into your review and everything, I'm gonna get your opinion on this before we continue on. Do you think that they're gonna continue the $30 premium access model or no?
I think so. Yes, I think they're going to keep going because I feel like they figure if we just keep doing this, people will eventually just stop being mad at it. Yeah. But I don't know because again, it depends on how much money these movies make. Because like HBO Max said, "Fuck it, we don't give a fuck. We're just putting this shit like same day," and it just depends on which model makes the most money. If releasing it in simultaneously in theaters and on streaming services garners them a ton of money and goodwill, they'll do that. If putting a $30 price tag allows them to make a fuck ton of money, then they're gonna go with that. At the end of the day, it's whatever makes them the most money. Like public opinion is one thing, but money is more important.
Yeah. Now, any last comments? And what do you think about this movie? Like, what'd you rate this?
I think I would rate this. I guess same rating as Jet did, 3 out of 5, because I feel like this was very basic, but I had higher expectations, and not necessarily from even the trailer. I'm watching this and I'm seeing the first fight scene, and I'm like, this is fucking phenomenal. Like, this is incredible, and I wanted more fight scenes. I wanted more, like, they did a lot of 1v1, but I wanted, you know, a 1 versus 5, a versus 10, her fighting an army. Like, I want more of that shit, because that's the action movies I like. I like it when one person has to problem solve their way through fighting like 100 dudes. It's always interesting to see how they're going to be able to essentially dance their way through this. And it didn't give me that. What it did give me is a interesting premise for a 2-season TV series. Yeah. It didn't give me a movie, because when they're introducing, like, Fang and Spine and all these interesting businesses, I'm like, this reminds me a lot of Avatar: Last Airbender. Hey, we got to go gallivanting across the world to find this stuff, but they only spend so little time in every area that it's like, I barely remember the differences. Like, I think Spine was like 5 minutes, and they spent more time in whatever the fuck essentially the New York version of it was, and it's like, This would have been great if it was a television show where they could spend time in every single place. But it was very simple.
Speaking of that last dude that they introduced, was he actually even needed in this movie?
Who?
I don't think he did anything.
That's true.
The big bald dude.
No, he was just kind of there because he's like, fuck it, I don't want to be alone. No, that's it. He was upset with being alone, and he figured he could come help on the journey. So it's like, look, I want to go into battle. I want to go and help you do this because if you succeed, then hey, guess what? Everyone comes back.
Yeah. But I'm glad to hear that you didn't think this is trash, and you're also a 3 out of 5. That's actually pretty cool. And yeah, once again, it's one of those movies that just people can enjoy, and it's not like one of those things you gotta like really look into deep and be like, oh, here's the reason why it's not perfect. It's like, nah, it's whatever.
It's mostly just it didn't live up to the potential it could have had. I don't think there's anything bad but there were missed opportunities. For instance, at one point they're trying to like break into this one area, and one person comes up with a hilarious story. I was like, oh, everyone around there is going to come up with their own version of the story. And I'm like, I'm waiting for that baby to just go a bunch of goo gagas, but have an elaborate plan they can't understand. But it never went through. I'm like, Jen was right. This movie feels about 20 minutes too short, where they could have elaborated on a lot more what's going on, added a few more action scenes, added some more stuff in here. But it's like, it felt like a little bit of a rush, but I'm not really sure why, because it does feel kind of flat and average, where it's like, no one's going to remember this movie in 3 years. They'll talk about Soul forever. But everyone's like, hey, remember Raya and the Last Dragon? Everyone's going to Raya the Who?
Yeah. It's going to be one of those like,
the one that doesn't have any singing in it?
Yeah, exactly, right? Which is, man, that's a great identity for me to fucking latch onto.
Sure, but there's nothing memorable about it besides the fact that they had some cool fights. I'm like, yeah, that was good, but I'm not going to remember this in a couple of years.
But that's a review for that. And really quick, we're going to get into something else that's very, very short. But moving ahead, fuck you, Oz Hockey Only. God damn it. Why do you guys always come over here and try to sell me streaming?
Clearly he wants to help us be famous.
Well, okay, no, actually, let's stop the show. I want to be famous. I'm just going to message him really quick and fix
What if we clicked it? What would happen? What if we just clicked it?
And then
I'm not going to do it.
It's like, girls want to fuck you. What, me? Me? Oh, I guess I'll just click on it and become a millionaire and have all the women.
There are hot singles in my area? That's
Jesus,
great.
I did not know that. I just thought there were some not singles in my area. Anyways, it's fucking stupid.
Yeah,
can't believe thank you.
Liz in chat saying that he's glad they got some Southeast Asian representation, but they need more. And it's like, yeah, definitely. Again, at the end of the day, it's like, look, man, there are 100 billion Avatar projects to which 95% of them are going to fail. But if Disney said, fuck it, hey guys, we'll let you do a fucking Avatar Last Airbender animated movie, that'd be the fucking greatest movie ever made.
Yeah. But here's the thing though, man, this next movie I was really excited to talk about. Just because I'm kind of curious what other people will think too, because I know people have a chance to watch this, but on Amazon Prime, Coming to America came out. And yeah, here's the thing about Coming to America, man. The original movie, I think it's not necessarily overhyped, but I think it's one of those movies that didn't really age too well. But it's funny, it's cool, it's whatever, very... Like I would give it like a 3 out of 5. It's just a little bit above average, but it is what it is. And it was an Eddie Murphy vehicle and kind of an Arsenio Hall vehicle, and they were like very, very funny. They got to show the chemistry with each other, and I was surprised they didn't do more stuff with those two actors. I'm looking at this though, and as soon as I saw the trailer and I saw Leslie Jones, and by the way, I'm not a fan of Leslie Jones. I didn't like her shit in Goosebumps, or not Goosebumps, Ghostbusters.
In Ghostbusters?
Yeah, I did not like her in the Ghostbusters thing.
Nope.
There's some stuff she's done with SNL where, look, not to sound like a dick or anything, because it's gonna sound questionable, but like, she really, like, when people say like, man, why are you gonna have black people do this in movies? Why are you gonna have this loud character who acts like this, blah blah blah? Leslie Jones is all those things, like. I mean, to a point where, like, they had this really racially insensitive fucking thing back in 2017. Remember when Chris Rock was doing the Oscars thingy, and the whole bit was like, hashtag Oscar so white?
Yep.
So you would think everyone's, like, building up Chris Rock, like, oh, shit, he's going to be great. And he comes on there, and the whole fucking 3-hour thingy, he's talking shit about black people and interviewing people like, hey, what do you think about Oscar so white? I just likes the blacks movies. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, and I know Chris Rock is going for a bit here, but he's being more insulting with the whole fucking thing. And then they had Leslie Jones come in there, and she played the bear that goes after Leonardo DiCaprio from The Revenant, because that movie came out that year.
Oh, and it was like that year too.
Yeah, well, I think Revenant came out in 2016, but since it was going for an award, they wanted to do like a parody of it. So she's literally like the bear, and to make a joke like, oh, the big black bear, because she's kind of heavy set, blah blah blah, whatever. And it's like, Jesus fucking Christ, like, you guys. Like, it's like, I understand the Oscar so white thing, and people should have a problem with it, blah, blah, blah. Like, I totally get that. But at the same time, when you have black people on there, and they're making fun of themselves, And all white people in the audience are like, ha ha, that's so funny, ha ha. It's like, you guys didn't fucking do anything for the Oscar so white situation. You just kind of entertained the fucking white people for fucking 2 hours. Like, god damn it. So for me, I've been sick of Leslie Jones because of that shit. Everything she's done is just that same character. So I was just looking at this, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a problem. I don't know who this new guy is. It had the same people from before. They're all old and shit. I'm just like, eh. And then as soon as I started watching it, the way it moves so fast, the way they bring back like their old barbershop characters and made jokes that are not only making fun of somewhat of the whole like the fucking, what do you call it, like the sensitivity of people, social justice, etc. I thought that was funny.
That shit, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of funny how they do it, but at the same time, like, not making fun of it, just making fun with it. I thought that was cool. And then I found out that this movie is not really about Eddie Murphy's character. And that was when I was like, okay, now I really like this fucking movie. Because it could have had this be Eddie Murphy just doing the same shit over and over again, saying the same lines, blah, blah, blah. But we're not going to get a Coming 3 America. We're not going to get a third sequel, most likely. You know what I mean? And yet, this movie is building characters and kind of a little bit of a universe here. And I fucking loved that. But then I go online and I see people talking shit about this, like, man, it's the same old shit. Oh, I hate this still. Oh, fucking A. Murphy is tired and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't know what people were expecting with this at all. But, Jed, I have to ask you, like, at what point did you think that this was actually going to be an okay movie? Because I think that you thought this could be bad as well.
Honestly, I didn't have any thoughts on it. Because, like, I knew the PG-13 rating was probably going to hurt it in some regard or whatever. And also, when it comes to sequels of movies after a ton of, like, what is it? How?
Like 30 years.
It must have been.
Yeah. Is it like 30 years?
It's like 32 years, yeah, because the original came out in 1988, so 12 years from that, and then another fucking 20.
That's since 1988, so it's been a long fucking time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so usually when it comes to sequels after like that long, they're usually not that good. Because, comedies change. Like, there's some things that are allowed, there's some things that aren't. This one, I actually think did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I was so happy with how this turned out because of the fact that it's like, this could have been really, really lazy, and there's parts where maybe it could be considered a little bit lazy, but like, yeah, you got all these characters here. I mean, I do think that this had too much going on, though. I mean, I think that having 3 daughters and having maybe one of them actually have a storyline, I thought that was kind of odd. Did that kind of distract you at all from just enjoying the movie, Jet? Like the fact they didn't use all the characters that showed on screen?
I always have a problem with that when they introduce characters like that and then they don't actually use them to their full potential. Because they actually could have done a lot more with the other 2 daughters, but they didn't. But to be honest, like, that's only a small part. Like, I didn't mind that too much. At least they did focus somewhat on the oldest.
Yeah, I will say too, one thing I really enjoyed, this is how you do subtle woman empowerment. I loved the way they did Lisa here. I loved her character. I like how at the beginning she's kind of like, oh yeah, I'm the queen or whatever. Technically a princess, but then, queen as the movie continues on. But then she's also like, yeah, but also, you like to say you're going to change things for women, blah, 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 but you didn't do shit. And I'm going to go off on you because Leslie Jones' character allows me to feel more empowered myself. And it was funny, it was a joke, but it was also serious. And I like that. I like how they kind of put that in there. And yeah, dude, like, even the ending and his one daughter who, wanted to take over, the throne or whatever, her character, I think, has really good character development because she's badass. They show, I mean, there's like literally choreography in this fucking thing. So there's a lot of this that I really, really enjoyed, not just on a, it's a funny movie way. I mean, there was some good writing and good decisions here where I think that, like, little girls can watch this and enjoy it, and yet this is a property that only old motherfuckers would like from way back in the day. You know what I mean? Like,
especially with that fucking barbershop scene.
Yeah.
Like, that one was so funny.
That shit was great, and they did a good job with these dudes. I thought like the makeup was gonna look silly or something, but no, like they still look fucking awesome. The fact that they didn't age at all, I think is funny as shit too. Because in reality, all these motherfuckers would be dead by now. But yeah, I like that too. You know what I mean? But I also like the new guy as well. Like, what you feel about this new lead? I forgot his name already. My bad. But yeah, what'd you think of him? The son.
I actually never heard of him before. Like, at first I thought he was a TikTok star, and I was just like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But I didn't mind him too much. I mean, he got a couple laughs out of me.
Yeah. Now, I mean, we're enjoying this and we're talking all this good stuff about it, but I do want to bring up one thing: is boy, is this shit musical? What'd you think of that aspect?
Oh, yeah. Oh man, that's my major problem with the movie. Like, too many. Like, there's too many like songs. Like, they'll stop for like a music break or whatever, and it takes up like 13 minutes, and I'm like, God damn! Like, okay,
13 minutes, fucking Christ.
Yeah, dude.
like it felt like 13 minutes because like, okay, there's one at the beginning, then there's one a little bit later, and then there's one at the end. It's just like,
And one at the
okay,
end is long as fuck, dude. Like they played 2 full songs. It's almost like you're watching a little bit of a edited concert. Like it gets crazy, and it's a joke concert too.
yeah, there's too many music sequences in this. Like for a movie like this, you don't need that many.
Yeah,
Like just that one at the beginning. That one at the beginning was fine. Like that's all you needed. But then they just kept going. It's just like, okay, come on. You could have used that time to like flesh out a couple more of these characters, especially one that becomes important later on.
Yeah. No, and that was a weird thing too. And I feel like the love interest doesn't get enough screen time. I think there's some really good moments. By the way, like I think all romantic angles for things look a little silly. But for this, like the romantic storyline kind of worked a lot. Like I feel like, I mean, granted, it's at a point though where he's like, oh man, I can't do this thing because I love this girl. I'll devote my life to her and fuck my dad and fuck all this money and fuck everything. I love this girl, and it's like you've known her for 3 days. Like
The 3 days falling in love storyline.
yeah, it's like, I mean, you guys could have. There's no reason not to like edit this and be like, hey, so a week later, you know, and then a month later they're still liking each other. It's like you could have done that, but you know, all that last 3 days, you gotta make sure to rush that fucking thing.
Like I did like their chemistry, but I feel like it was a bit too rushed for that small amount of time we get. Like it is cute, but you know, it happened a bit too fast.
Yeah,
It should have started at the beginning of the movie and then got to the point where it got to. It would have made more sense.
And by the way, like the idea, because I like the Blasian brought this up. He's like, remember he wanted to marry the other girl right away. I thought that was funny as shit because it kind of played a thing with our heads. Like we were expecting one thing and we got another. And that was cool the way they did that because for one, that girl, like, I mean, the way they filmed her and everything, I was like, dude, I get it. I'd be like, what the fuck as well. But at the same time, though, I really like how they did her character too because she's so serious, but like boringly serious. Because there's a part where, like, you know, and just so you guys know, in this place, I don't even know what the fuck this place that they're in is called, but like when they pick a queen for somebody to, you know, give her to the other family so they can marry her, blah blah blah. She's been trained her entire life to be like subservient to what the man wants during the entire marriage. So like
Yeah, that happened in the original too.
yeah, which is fine.
I think that was a callback.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was definitely a callback. But the thing is, like in the original, she was like dumb about it. Like he's like, "Hey, bark for me," like she was fucking stupid as shit. Over here, she was like she wasn't like silly dumb. It was like serious, but also subservient to the point where I'm like, man, that's even worse because it's not a comedy thing. It's almost like kind of sad. Like she sits there and she's like, "What do you want me to do?" And he's like, "Oh, just wait right here." Well, now I'm stuck here forever until you come back. Like she literally was there for like many scenes later, just stuck in the same spot because she's frozen. Like, you know, my prince said to fucking sit right here. I will fucking do what he wants because I'm a woman and he's in charge. And holy shit. And I was like, I kind of like the way they did that too because they bring up how fucked up that is in the movie. While in the first Coming to America, it's almost like, oh haha, you know, the bitch is dumb. She's gonna sit there and bark. You know what I mean? Here they do that well. So I love that a lot, and they call out like the culture.
Same to me.
What's up?
Still seemed the exact same to me. Like he made her bark in the first movie. In this one, he was just gonna have her stand there. Someone didn't like come and basically like, "Hey, stop standing there."
Yeah, it was kind of fucked up, but I like how other characters like, you know, they're like, why should a woman not do this? And I have dreams too, and I want to do this, and this is fucked up. And people say they're gonna change it, but these men never change it. And they always want to, you know, act like they care, but they don't care. And it's like, that's kind of cool because it makes Eddie Murphy's dad look like shit, which the first one they did that too. But it kind of makes Eddie Murphy look like shit, and it kind of makes this new guy look like shit. And at the same time, like they still manage to learn from this. And at the end of the movie, it's like, well, now things change, and it's not like down your throat with the woman empowerment thing, but it's like, yeah, it's pretty honest. Like I really like the way they pulled that off, and I feel like the writer, like, I mean, whoever, because I forgot who wrote this, but like whoever was in charge of just putting these chess pieces together to make everyone look good, have everyone have a good ending, but then also have realistic endings. I mean, magnificent all around. Like, I fucking love what this movie is on paper. But as far as the movie goes, yeah, there's some things that are kind of and some things that drag on. But I give this a 3.5 out of 5. I think it's definitely above average. But at the same time, it's like, it's a little similar to the first one, but I don't understand. Like, people were talking about Rotten Tomatoes giving this low scores, and it's like, dude, you guys are so far removed from the idea of a sequel that comes out 30 years later. That's like, why are you even reviewing shit? Like, you guys are fucking stupid. I hate that. Like, they'll give fucking Marvel, whatever the fuck, a bunch of goddamn, praise or whatever that's doing the same shit over and over again. And then this might as well be a goddamn remake. And then they're just like, oh, well, it's not that good because whatever. It's like, what, is it because it's a comedy? Like, what is it? Is it because it's on Amazon Prime, so you just think it's shitty because it's on a different platform? Like, get the fuck out of here. This movie is no different than a lot of stuff that seems similar, and this actually does a lot of things that are different. So, like I said, I love this movie. I don't mind it was PG-13. 3.5 out of 5 for me. Jet, what would you give it?
I'd probably give it the same that I gave Raya, 3. Like, this movie actually did make me laugh, and of course, it's not going to be as good as the original. Like, most sequels after that long never are. But it seemed like it did have heart. It made me laugh. Like, and it definitely is a lot like the first one. Like, it's definitely... They even bring up, like, clips from the previous movie in a certain part. Or, like, a backstory or whatever. And just like, okay, you really didn't even need to do that. And the musical numbers, it's just like, okay, come on. Like, you don't really even need that. But, I mean, there was enough heart into where I can't really hate it. And the barbershop scene just keeps this from being, like... keeps me from hating it. Because, like, that shit was actually pretty funny.
Yeah, I fucking love that barbershop scene. Yeah, man.
Like, they do it twice. And then the scene right after that was actually funny, too, at the church.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, I did like the interaction between the characters too, giving a different insight on like what's going on with Eddie Murphy's character, like years later and everything like that, and putting things into perspective. I don't hate it. Yeah, so honestly, it's just an average movie. Like, it being too much like the original isn't technically a bad thing. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, and like they did have fun with it. So, yeah, 3 out of 5.
Nice. Yeah, so I'm glad they were kind of on the same boat there, too. But this is where I'm kind of scared a little bit. So, Alan?
What's up?
There's a big elephant in this fucking room. She has vision.
But I still love you.
Oh, fuck you! Oh, that was so great. You fucking asshole. You prick. Yep. Here's the thing, though, dude. WandaVision, episode 9. So, you finally got to watch it, huh?
Yes.
All right, so... I don't know how we're going to do this. Firstly, I just want to say that I already kind of gave my review about this the other day, and I guess I'll finally reveal this to Alan, and he can actually be in the chat and everything, and not be scared about no goddamn spoilers.
Right.
But this, by the way, is an Alan review only, as well as a spoiler discussion, possibly for the entire season. So just so you guys know, like, if you don't want to know anything, get the fuck out of here. But for me, I gave this a 3.5 out of 5 as far as, like, the episode goes, and then I talked about the entire season. I gave it, a 2.5 out of 5. Because of the fact that I feel like now that this entire thing's over, I can officially say that this fucking season and this show is way overhyped. I think it's overhyped as fuck. I think people were just excited to get something new, and they were surprised about what happened halfway through the show. But definitely, like, the epitome of average, which is better for most things as far as Marvel goes. So, congratulations, guys. That's one of the best things you guys done. Now, as far as the episode goes, why don't you tell people the synopsis of basically what happened and what you thought about it, just as far as your opinions go.
Yeah, basically the last episode 9 was, this is a culmination of everything that's kind of happened. We understand the bad guy's premise. We understand a lot of what's Wanda. We developed a lot of her character, and we figured out what's going on. And now essentially, and we know that what Hayward's plan was with the Vision. So basically, we know who the good guys are, we know who the bad guys are, and let's have them fight. And the majority of this episode is not only are we going to fight, we're also going to still even delve into the concept of heroes, villains, and whether or not even the characters we've been following are good people. And I really enjoy just the idea of, like, there's a lot of stuff that happened in this episode, a lot of stuff to break down, and it calls back to a lot of stuff that happened in the previous show. So this was fantastic. This was way better than I expected. I was terrified. I thought this was going to suck. Legitimately, I was like, they're not going to nail it. Like, they built too much stuff up. They did too much intelligent stuff over the course of the series that it's going to fall apart. It's just going to be this garbage-ass 30-minute fucking whatever, and it's going to ruin it. But as I was watching it, going, you're doing things in here I did not think you have the balls to do. Like by the time they got to the end of the episode, I was like, what? I was like, no. There's some magical solution to get everything that you want. No. They're just like, fuck you. Like I was like, okay, you respect. I'll give you respect because I didn't see that coming. Legitimately did not see a lot of. Honestly, there are things in here. I was like, there's no fucking. I would be like, that would be really cool, like as a joke. Like, hey, like, wouldn't it be really cool if this thing happened between these two characters? I'd be like, oh, that's never gonna fucking happen. They never do that shit, and they do it in this episode. But I'm like, this was well done. This will go down. Like, I think this is be memorable. I don't think this is above average. I think the series is fantastic, and this is gonna go down. People are gonna think about this like when people talk about runs of Spider-Man or Captain America or Batman, and they go, oh yeah, that Batman comic that Alan Moore wrote was fantastic. People are going to look back and be like, hey, that television show, that WandaVision, changed, like, not necessarily changed the game, but it's going to be remembered for years to come. People are going back and be like, hey, that's how you could do grief. That's how you could do character development.
Yeah, and whether or not I disagree with that or whatever, I do think that's like, world building wise, this will be brought up again because this is so fucking essential to what we're going to see soon. And here's the thing about that. I think that's a bad thing as far as like entertainment wise because I'm so sick of every fucking thing that I watch from Marvel is always a business decision. It's not like I'm watching anyone's fucking art or any fucking like piece of entertainment. I'm just watching a decision to not only sell more and create more and divide like this fucking character base, whatever the fuck, to have more shows or more movies or whatever. But it's also like we got to make sure, humans think like this. Humans like cliffhangers. Humans like this, blah, blah, blah. And we're all just a bunch of statistics watching on a fucking computer screen while they just fuck with us every fucking property they come out with. And it's really fucking annoying. Like, it's the same thing, like, Infinity War was a great movie. And the reason why I look at it now, like, wow, it kind of sucked, is because they ruined it with Endgame. And Thor Ragnarok ruined stuff for other things, too, because they ruin other properties to make shit more funny or have a new toy come out to be with something or, like, I don't know. It's fucking crazy to me. The fact that we even have we call it like phase 1, phase 2, whatever. It's also annoying too. It's so fixed. So that's my only problem as far as the show goes and how the show is going to change the course of the future. But I will tell you this much: it gives me to care a little bit about Doctor Strange because essentially all this is leading directly to Doctor Strange. Apparently, right?
Yeah. Yes, Wanda will be in there, and I have a few ideas of what the character will do, and what I almost want to say has to happen based on some of the items they described. But she is going to be in Doctor Strange, and it's going to be a shakeup. I'm not sure. Like, I think that character has one movie left in her before they're just going to have her retire in some fashion.
Yeah, and like Blasian Michael says, after watching WandaVision, I want to watch Doctor Strange. So about this show in general, man, does it make you want to watch Age of Ultron again or think differently about how you rated that before? Because I know that lots of people didn't like that movie, and then after the show, once again, I don't know what's up with Marvel fans and that fucking weird, like, hide mind mentality, but it's like, now it's good. It's like, it was good before, you fucking morons.
It was never good. Age of Ultron was a piece of shit. I'm sorry. Like, okay, sorry, piece of shit is very harsh. It's very inconsistent. There are moments of Age of Ultron that are fantastic, but then there's almost something in the movie that completely ruins it. It's a really strange dynamic where it's like there's the best scenes in the movie get ruined by the worst scenes in the movie, and it's like I overall I'm just like, fuck, I wish this movie was better. Infinity War I think is probably the best. Like I will always have a soft spot for Avengers 1, but Infinity War is better. Like it had more of a shoulder to keep on. It had more to do. Like nobody thought the Avengers was going to work, and it did, and it was fantastic. It was monumental. But Infinity War had to balance like almost a decade of fucking movies. Like that movie's fucking incredible. But retroactively thinking something is better, it's like no, because none of the shit that's in here was thought up in Age of Ultron. So in other words, I'm giving this show more credit because it takes stuff from Age of Ultron and actually uses it. Because there's so much in Age of Ultron that they just cherry pick and make it better and make it make more sense and delve into it. And we had this conversation last week, like, oh, this show isn't rewatchable. Not my choice, but when I was watching it with my buddies, we went and rewatched the whole series leading up to 8. And at first I was like, I cannot sit through those first 2 episodes again. I will shoot myself. But again, I watched it, and this time instead of focusing on the Dick Van Dyke Show and whatever the fuck, I was looking at the background. I was looking at little things the characters were saying because we had subtitles on. Little things that are happening in the background. And again, now full spoilers, I was paying attention to Agatha the whole time.
Yeah.
And when they had episode 6 where it's like Agatha behind it all along, And I said that on the show. That's my most hated movie trope because I feel like they always make that up. But they show a lot of clips in that like montage of her doing stuff. So I'm looking in the background going, oh no, she's actually doing stuff. Like during that magic scene in episode 2, she's actually like doing some stuff in the background. But because you're not paying attention to that, you don't notice that. So when they bring it back, it's like, oh, she actually was there the whole time. And it was always stuff that like this show, everything it does is deliberate. And in going through, it's like it was every single thing that ends up doing. It's like there were so many scenes where I was looking at that going, especially watching it going, this is going to be really dark. And again, full spoilers. When episode 6 and Vision tries to leave the hex and he starts falling apart, my brain went, what about the kids? What the fuck's going to happen to the kids? And then when episode 9, they start falling apart, I'm like, oh my fucking God, are they going to kill everybody? No. This is Disney, this is Marvel. They're going to do something, right? They're going to somehow magic their way into some bullshit, right? But they don't. They actually commit to it. I'm like, I did not see that coming. I thought she was going to like make a house that was only for them and she's going to stay there forever. But it's like, no, they just wipe everything out. And it's like, that was really, really fucked up. Like, I cannot believe that happened. Like, I don't know how you felt about that, but I was like, this can't be real.
Well, see, I didn't feel surprised by that because that's the biggest thing about the episode that makes it not perfect. Because I like the action scenes, I like everything they did, I like the fight with Agatha and Scarlet Witch. I love, man. There's that part where people are like, they're not within her mind control shit, and they're like,
oh
hey,
my God, that was great,
dude. By the way, I've had nightmares about that in real life, like before the show ever came out. That is horrifying, and they did that perfect. Cause and there's no special effects.
Can I see my daughter? It's been weeks. Can I see her?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh fuck you.
That
fuck
shit
you,
was
Wanda.
amazing. That was incredible. So you would think like, oh, Nick, why is this not like a 5 out of 5 for you? And I think the reason why is because the predictability. It was still safe in its. Like I knew that I was gonna have a bad ending, but the bad ending was still safe, especially considering
How is
the
it
dialogue.
safe though? She lost everything and essentially went back to square one.
Because she talked to Wanda, or she talked to Vision. And here's the thing that I don't like about Endgame. The issue I have with this is the same thing you have with Endgame, and just the whole rule of the fucking dust particles, the fact that I think Iron Man and Thanos are still alive, all this shit. So at the end, she literally is like goodbye, and she's accepted that she's gonna lose Vision and she's gonna lose the kids and blah blah blah. And then he's like, "Well, meet the kid. I'm curious where our next journey is gonna be." And she's like, we will see each other again. And it's like, yeah, of course you are, because Doctor Strange can fuck with time and do this and blah, blah, blah. You're just going to reverse all this. This doesn't matter.
I mean, yes, it does, because she basically what they're saying is like, hey, we got to stop saying goodbye because we say this so often. Because at this point, Vision's died like 3 times. So this is number 3.
So why does it still matter that he dies? Because like they took the fucking oomph out.
Because it doesn't stick. They're essentially, the torture is that like she's going to keep trying because, hey, spoiler alert for the 4th time. She doesn't learn a goddamn fucking thing from this adventure, which I actually surprisingly
really
enjoyed.
Bad writing, like the fact she didn't learn.
I don't think that, because again, this is a character that's consistently lost. When she's having the conversation with him, it's like, hey, I actually really enjoyed that, because it's like, look, the craziness of this world, for some reason, we are going to meet up again. Because at this point, she doesn't know what happened to the other Vision. She doesn't. She's just like, hey, you beat him, whatever. Okay, cool, let's move on. She doesn't know what's going to happen. So maybe she meets up with, other Vision, and it's like, okay, maybe something's going to happen. But it's like they were never destined to be together, and that's essentially the tragedy of her character. Is like, she's going to lose a lot. And it's like, how does she end up dealing with that? And there's a lot of that where it's like, oh, this is really, really quite interesting. And whatever happened with Doctor Strange, it's like, she's probably going to want to go to Doctor Strange to be like, hey, can you fix this? And he's going to go, well, I fucking can't. You can't be fucking with fundamental forces of nature. Every time you try, you fail. And she is stubborn as fuck. So it's like, it's going to be a situation where this character might turn full villain because she just wants to be happy. And everybody tells her no. And every time she tries, she fucks up. So I really, really fucking enjoyed what they did with the character. I just didn't think they were going to go there. But that's not the thing I said earlier where I'm surprised. There's a situation that happens here that I'm surprised as a society we were allowed to see. When Vision fights Vision in the library, I was like, when I saw the Vision versus Vision fight, and the first thing he does, he throws him into a fucking like trailer and explodes. I was back going, oh, we're now doing this. It's not going to be dumb explosions and dumb whatever. We're going to throw out all this intelligent character development. Okay, whatever. It was cool. Let's just do some Man of Steel fighting. They do some Man of Steel fighting, and it was good. It was really good. And then they go to the library, and he goes, my directive is to kill Vision. And Vision goes, what do you think that means? And I was like, okay, what are you going to talk to him? Maybe he'll still fight. Hey, do you know the ship of Theseus? And I almost spat my drink out because I was like, oh, they're doing this. They're fucking doing this. Well, the Vision we know won because I know how this story, I know the philosophy of the ship of Theseus. But how are they going to fucking do it? And it's like, he has a conversation with another robot, not like almost very similar to Age of Ultron's ending, but that was more of the battle's already over. I'm going to kill you, but I'm essentially going to explain to you why it's okay that they're not perfect. Which I'm like, that's fine. But this situation where I have a logic versus logic fight with a robot to try to explain to him that he is also Vision, but he is a memory of that character, and it's like the conversation they have where they compare the rotting of a ship to the memories of humanity, that it's not perfect because things don't last, but the fact that it rot means it's changed because it has a presence in there was fucking beautiful. And the fact that it ends the fight, I was like, I turned my buddies, I'm like, we do not deserve to see that. Like, fucking action movies are way too stupid to sit there and be like, no, they're not just going to blow up a bunch of buildings. They're actually going to logic the way out, because this is how a Terminator movie should end.
Yeah. I did like that too, because like they're doing something with this. I'm like, wow, like you could have. And here's the thing too. I'm gonna be honest. When I first saw it, I was like, okay, they're doing this because they don't want to spend more money on the special effects. Like, I see what y'all doing. But then again, it's like, even if that was the case, the fact that you're willing to suppress that need to entertain the fucking super duper Marvel fans or whatever, because it is a climactic episode, it's like, no, you guys still kind of did your thing. It really kind of like hones in on the fact that they're trying something here. And they're trying to tell a fucking story, which is something that a lot of these comic book things don't do, or they do, but they do try. But at the same time, it's like it's so surface level, and this is like, no, we're not being surface level. We can be, and possibly for this episode, maybe some people can say that is the case, and it was an arguable concept. But at this point, it's like, no, we are literally going full force with this idea because, yeah, this is the last episode. We don't have to fucking ask more questions. Or bring up certain things that people might not understand. We are literally going here, and I thought that was really cool.
And I enjoy that, because it's like, yeah, we have a situation which we had to, because like to me it's like, hey, it's a robot versus robot fight. It's like, yeah, we have Terminator for 30 years, but it's like one of my favorite parts of Terminator 3 was when he essentially uses logic to reprogram Arnold, where he's like talking about, it's like, hey, you're supposed to protect me. Like she fucked with you, but you're supposed to protect me. Go into your deprogramming. Like, he's talking to him like a robot, and that's why Arnold's like fucking hitting that fucking thing, because he's fighting his own programming. I really enjoyed that. And they did this situation where, because Vision has been a relatively calm person throughout this entire series. Like, the moments he freaks out are, it's like, because he doesn't understand what's going on. But now that everything's kind of making more sense, he's like, well, I'm not going to just punch this robot till it dies. It's like me. It's an AI, so I'm going to reason with it. And it worked out really, really well. But then you go over to the Wanda situation, and Wanda's like, well, this was like, I was looking at that fight scene going, okay, this is kind of the Thanos versus Doctor Strange. And I'm wondering, I'm watching with them, like, how are they going to solve this problem? And she uses her own naivety against her. And I'm like, you're doing a lot of stuff here that I don't think you'd ever get away with a $200 million movie. I think the fact that this show probably cost $100 million to do the 10 episodes, it lets you get away with a lot of stuff that I think there's going to be stuff like that where if they just had, hey, she just keeps punching her and then she kills her, cool, it's over. Everyone will be like, well, I mean, that was cool, I guess. And then, oh, they killed Vision. Cool, but the fact that they like, no, we're not going to be every superhero movie ever. We're going to give you some action, sure. There's action and it's pretty good, most of it. But we're going to also give you something else, so people will be like, yeah, we're doing what Wonder Woman wish it could have done.
Yeah.
We're going to give you an ending where the characters kind of talk. We're going to give you some action, but at the end of the day, they resolve it by essentially explaining to each other why this is fucking stupid. And then we tricked one of the villains. Like, I love it when you trick a villain.
Yeah. No, I thought that was really cool too. I do think Agatha started doing some. I mean, the dialogue. We'll get into that a little bit too. Is like, oh yes, I'm going to, like, she's like literally over explaining shit too. Like, you are the best whatever witch, and I'm another witch, and I'm gonna do this. And I'm like, man, this is like hocus pocus shit. Like, why don't you bring a fucking broom too, lady? Like, what the fuck?
Well, I mean, she does do a lot of witch stuff. At one point, Wanda hits her in the face of the car, and she just leaves her boots there. I was like, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, so little things like that kind of took me out of it. And I do think they're trying to entertain, like, okay, keep in mind, like, we have a younger audience, and granted the adults that are watching this with them are probably enjoying all this story and all this, world building and universe stuff or whatever, but at the same time, like, these kids gotta have, like, a thing to laugh at or a thing to fucking, like, whatever. So I was like, okay, that's cool. I enjoy that you guys are trying to satisfy many audience members. That's a cool thing. But once again, it's like, for me, at the very end, I feel like I predicted a lot. I think you predicted a lot. And not to say that you ruined anything for me, but it's like, if you can predict something, and I say this with Game of Thrones and everything too, it's like, if you predict something, it shouldn't ruin the show. Or it shouldn't ruin, like, oh man, that thing didn't happen. Because it's like, I feel like if a spoiler can fuck up a show, then that just means that there was really nothing there. You were just wanting something to be revealed. If you read the script, would it turn you off? Would it make scripts are supposed to make you like it. That's how they get actors to be on top of things. Like, oh shit, that sounds awesome. I'm fucking totally for it. Even like books. Like sometimes if I know the ending of a book and I'm still reading a book, it must be written pretty fucking well. You know what I mean? I'm not just reading to see what happens next. That's why I don't like cliffhanger culture, which, by the way, The Walking Dead does a fucking lot. And I don't like when...
It might as well just be called Cliffhanging Dead.
Yeah, no, seriously. I mean, like every fucking episode. And it's like, that's cheap, to be honest. I love The Walking Dead, but it's cheap. But at the same time, to bring it back to that too, it's like, if I know what's going to happen, and sometimes Walking Dead can be predictable, I'm still enjoying it because I like these characters and there's a lot there. So, and like Infinity War, we all knew essentially that, okay, Endgame's going to come out, so either these characters are going to go to prison or die or go into some phantom zone. But
I actually didn't know that. I actually didn't. Like, I knew to a certain degree, it's like, hey, we got to do a second movie, but I did not think they would end it the way they were going to end it.
I kind of did. I didn't know it was going to be Spider-Man and shit. That fucking completely got me off whatever. But, like, I knew that there's going to be characters that are going to go because we got to continue on this angle to have a reason to have a second movie. And I knew for sure Thanos was not going to die. But Infinity War, I was having fun the entire time because it was entertaining you while also leaving something to be revealed later on. With WandaVision, I feel like it lived off, like, we got to reveal shit. And I'm like, I hate when things do that. And that's just a personal thing. I'm not saying that the show sucks because of that. But if all you guys reveals after reveals, to the point where, dude, I got to tell you, like, I watched this with Jet's family, and I could not fucking... I was sitting there right next to Jet's mom and her brother and everybody, and the episode, the credits hit, and I'm not mad like, oh, man, credits ended. I love the show. Grr. It was like, what the fuck? You revealed it as Agatha, and in the middle of her, like, it was me, ba-ba-da-ba, it just ends, like, abruptly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you motherfuckers this is basically a commercial for episode 7. Like, you're like, what the fuck?
Well, at the end of the day, like, the thing is, I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing because, yes, the show does have a lot of stuff where it's at the end of the day, when you look at something like Infinity War, it's catch-all. It's going to get 90% of audiences to watch it. This show is a risk because it's not going to get people. People probably didn't make it past the first time they showed episode 1, 2. I almost didn't. I was like, this is fucking terrible. Because we know the way they sold the show was, hey, there's some weird shit going on and it'll get explained later. But it's basically asking, hey, do you want to come join us on a walk? Do you want to come walk with us? And you're not going to get it until the end. A lot of people aren't going to want to do that because they're just going to want something straightforward that is like, we could tell what's going to happen. Good guys, bad guys fight, small little reveals, but for the most part, we don't want to have to work. But this show kind of does rely on you essentially breaking it down, analyzing it, and trying to figure out if it's ever going to be brought up again in the next episode. Because usually a lot of stuff in one episode is directly to the next episode, or maybe 2 or 3 episodes later. Like, especially on the rewatch, where the commercials are all references to Wanda's life. Every one of them, except for some that I just didn't understand, there's something that connects to her life. For instance, Lagos towels, that was the Civil War place she blew the fuck up. Like, the fucking toaster was a reference to the fucking Stark whatever. Those aren't important, but they are deliberate. So a lot of the show is really good on rewatch. But the issue with the show and the show does have a major issue, is every episode ends. Every episode is unsatisfying. Except for the last one. And maybe the last 2 with the whole clip, essentially the clip show. It has the reveals, but it never satisfies you fully because for every question it answers, there's 3 more it doesn't. Once it ends, you're like, oh, by the end of it, I'm like, you know what? They answered everything that I wanted. They solved everything they wanted. But it is very frustrating, and that's going to turn a lot of people off. I described this as a prolonged episode of Black Mirror because this is essentially what it was. We're going to do everything we do is deliberate. There's nothing we left out. There might be some bad choices we made, which I think there is. I think the Ralph Boner was, oh my fucking God, that was one of the worst things I've ever seen. Yeah. But everything else was fantastic. So it's like, I could expect, like, yeah, just tell me, hey, they're not into it just because, hey, it's not going to catch everybody. And my biggest fear with the show's legacy is when the Winter Soldier comes out in 2 weeks, people are like, it's not like WandaVision. Make it like WandaVision. And it's like, that's what happens when you have something that's very popular but very unique. Everyone wants to jump on the trend.
Yeah. I know that's probably what people expect, which would be fucking silly considering the fact that they're like, yo, this is going to be, an action show, blah, blah, blah. But I do think that, like, you kind of unlocked, like, this particular, like, oh, we are able to make a show like WandaVision. And it's like, okay, how many other characters can go. Like, I think Hawkeye is a chance to go in that direction again too. You know,
It depends on what they want to do, because Loki is like, well, we're gonna do time travel and time hijinks, and I'm like,
oh no,
I don't know what you're gonna do with that. Because like when I look at Winter Soldier, I was like, okay, so when I break down WandaVision is a war happened, and what happens when you lose loved ones in a war, and what happens to the grief when you try to come back, and you want to start a life, but the people you love died in the war. That's what that story is. It's assimilating back to. It's basically like dealing with the grief of a lost one during war, and that's what this show was like. What happens if a superpower character can't handle their grief? You create an alternate universe, and it's like doing all this crazy shit, and people get hurt. Winter Soldier is going to be, well, how do I assimilate back to society? The war ended, and the soldier coming back home from the war, because that's what's going to happen with these two characters. You have Anthony Mackie, who has to take on the mantle of his mentor, but then you have Sebastian Shaw, Winter Soldier, who's, hey, I still have a lot of problems. I've killed a lot of people. How do I go back to society? How do I try to be a normal person when I've seen all this stuff, when I've done all this stuff, when I've killed all these people? So as long as it's well written, people will enjoy it. But if you're expecting it to be some alternate reality or magic bullshit, it's like, it's really not. It's going to be like Winter Soldier, most likely.
Yeah, and once again, I mean, what a good movie to fucking try to be like. I'm down for that. Like, that's fine. Winter Soldier's awesome. But I also feel like, once again, we just, it's just unnecessary to have a show about this. When granted, like, I'm curious to see how they're going to do it. It'll be fun. But it's like, we're going to be running out of shit too. Like, another thing is, like, this movie, by the way, needs to not try to be anything other than just this basic, action fucking thing, because I'm afraid they are going to try to do that thing. We talked about this recently about, like, we might talk about social stuff or whatever. And I think this shit's a little too silly to bring up those things, and I want them to try to do something they're not. Like, don't be something you're not. You're a comic book movie. You're a motherfucker got wings.
I'm sorry, man. We said the identical thing to WandaVision. We're like, these characters don't matter. They did nothing with them in the movies, and it turned out to be a fairly decent show with its problems, but they managed to pull something out of nothing. And what's one of the biggest problems we had with Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Shaw's character? We know barely anything about them. They were essentially just plot points or MacGuffins for certain movies, and it's like telling me, comic book movies, though, just shut up and dribble. It's like, no. If you want to sit there, and fucking tell a social commentary story, do it. But you better fucking nail it, because I'm not gonna sit there like, wow, Marvel said Black Lives Matter. That means it's a good show. No, don't just say it. Do something interesting with it. You have infinite money. You have no one will tell you no. So do what WandaVision did, only in the sense of take a risk, do something no one else is doing, and basically be dedicated to whatever you want to do. Be inspired.
Yeah, because don't do what Wonder Woman 84 did, where they basically have a fucking, like, oh yeah, war's bad and these people are bad, but anyways, let me go ahead and fucking save this kid, on this road from this whole thing. And by the way, it's just like what happened in real life, where someone got fucking killed in the same setting, and it's like, oh, but we saved the kid, so we're a good movie. It's like, you guys are so fucking paint by numbers.
Use a missile to save a child.
Yeah, it's so fucking stupid.
Hey, let me go pick up this baby with fucking shears.
And that when they wrote that, they're like, oh, this is gonna be great. It's gonna make people feel good. Blah blah blah. It's like, no, you just talked about something very serious and not full of your stupid superhero bullshit, and you just painted your fucking DC logo on it, and all of a sudden, oh yes, give us applause. Like, fuck you. Yeah. Go back to singing John Legend about fucking coronavirus or whatever the fuck. Imagine there's no like, do that shit instead. Fuck you and your stupid fucking show or your movie. Yeah. This could not be, could be the same thing. It could not be the same thing. I'm very curious to see what's gonna happen with this, but I will say I really hope that they don't continue on with the fucking Stark Industries stuff here. I hope that Winter Soldier and Falcon have their own story going on, because WandaVision, I will tell you this much, to wrap it all up, and we're about to get the fuck out of here, but like, sure. That second to last episode where essentially, the house gets bombed or whatever, and she sees the fucking missile Stark Industries, and I was like, man, I love Iron Man, and I fight with Jet all the time about how much I love Tony Stark, but he is a poison in this fucking universe, dude. And not only the character, but just as far as writing, the writing has to have the stink of fucking Tony Stark, where no one can just fucking write a different story. Like, it's like Star Wars again with Tatooine. Like, can we get off?
It's not like they sat there and had him like they brought up something from Age of Ultron. That was there in Age of Ultron. There are people that are gonna say that this show makes that movie better. I'm not one of those people.
I am one of those people.
And you are entirely wrong. But it does help elaborate where it's like, yeah, they said that, hey, we waited 3 days. One of the best lines of the dialogue in that movie is, we waited for 3 days for Tony Stark to kill us. it's fucking perfect. I love that because that is dark as fuck. And it's like, yeah, of course I'm gonna bring it back. That's part of the character. They're not gonna change it to Bruce Wayne Industries. I can't wait for that Photoshop.
But I do think it's just like, yeah, there's enough story here, and like, you had to go as like, because Spider-Man has a lot of shit going on too. Spider-Man is so interesting.
Spider-Man's a legitimate problem. Spider-Man is a legitimate. They can't escape from Tony Stark. Like that is a huge problem with that entire story and character.
Yeah, and I feel like because Bucky is somewhat connected to Tony, is it going to be like, hey, remember when you did it to Tony? It's like, yes, I do. Oh, okay. How's that arm? Whatever the fuck. Oh, it was good. You know, Tony Industries has made it good.
No, I thought Black Panther made that with Wakanda.
Well, they did, but then once again, it's gonna be like Black Panther borrowed that from Tony. You know, Black Panther's great. You know, Tony helped all the black people, and it wasn't Harriet Tubman. Like whatever.
Tony put down all the vibranium in Wakanda, so he created the whole universe.
No, it's like I'm starting to think that Tony Stark is gonna be revealed as God later on. Like, can we fucking? He's dead, motherfucker. Can we please stop with Iron Man? Please. Like he's gone. Like at least don't kill him and let him keep having fucking shows. Then, like, I'm so sick of that motherfucker. Like he's not even alive in the universe, and he's still everywhere. Like, come on. But I already gave my rating for the entire season. I said 2.5 out of 5 as far as the finale. It's a 3.5 out of 5 for me. But how about you, man? Rate both with your numbers.
So, this is so strange, but honestly, I don't know how to rate this because when I watched the first 2 episodes, I hated it, but I knew that it was going to get better because stuff was going to get revealed. And as stuff got revealed, it made sense. It started fitting through, and I started enjoying it more and more as it went on. And episodes that I didn't like I mentioned I didn't like episode 8. Upon rewatch, I liked it more because of the fact that I was able to spot things that I didn't. But the problem with this show is if you binge it, you're going to miss things because you can literally watch this in probably a day or 2. But the show isn't built for that. The show is built for you to essentially watch a 30-minute episode and think about it later. Like, oh, what did that mean? What did this mean? Come up with your theories. That's what the show kind of bases it on. And some of your theories will be correct. Some of your theories will be wrong. For instance, I thought Doctor Strange and Mephisto were going to show up, but I was wrong. But if you're sitting there and you're binging it through, it's not going to have the same impact. And it's so weird. It's almost like telling me, hey, watch one episode a week until it's over. But it's like, no one's ever going to fucking do that now because it's all out. So it's like, I feel like this is like, it's like a once in a lifetime. Like, I don't know if people are going to get the same impact if they watch it now in one shot. I think people that did watch it weekly to weekly are going to get something where it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. But like in 5 years, is it going to have the same impact? I don't know. So my rating, it's like, it's 3.5 out of 5.
Okay.
But also 3 out of 5. In 5 years, it is 3 out of 5 because it's not going to have the same impact. So I'm giving it 2 ratings. For 2021, March 7th, it is a 3.5. In 2031, it's going to be a 3 because it will not have the same impact.
Yeah, I can see that being the case too. I mean, granted, I don't like things that drop in quality because it's just not, it's not impactful for its time. I don't like that shit.
It's literally a product of its time.
Because I'm the only motherfucker, by the way, that doesn't like the first Nightmare on Elm Street, the first Halloween, the first this, the first
You're
that.
You're just wrong.
Well, no, it's just because people they don't want to sound like they're not like a good reviewer, a good critic. Like, oh no, the first Nightmare on Elm Street, it's definitely a 5 out of 5 because it's the first.
It's a fantastic movie. It's one of my favorite ones. I saw it like a year ago.
That shit is trash. I'm sorry.
You're just wrong.
Fucking like that horrible acting. The bars are on the window. Nancy.
You're complaining about terrible acting in a slasher movie.
Oh, and then Halloween is just like, I'm just gonna walk after Jamie Lee Curtis forever. That's what I'm gonna do. Wow, this is just really scary, isn't it?
Yeah,
oh God, here he
just
comes.
Wrong. Have you ever considered you're just like wrong?
No, I have never considered that. I'm pretty smart.
Try that a couple times. It might change your opinion.
Even the first Terminator, you got fucking all that 80s bullshit.
Oh my fucking God.
Yeah, and then that horrible stop motion. That stop motion.
Pong, worst game ever made.
No, honestly,
Pac-Man, overrated bullshit.
Pong's actually pretty good, but you know what's actually
Tetris? Who gives a shit?
Actually, yes, Tetris. I think is not a good game.
You know those cave paintings that the cavemen did? Fuck them. That shit's garbage.
Those are pretty cool. I like those.
Fuck you. You're goddamn. I hate you as a person now.
I know. It's okay. But yeah, I don't know, man. Sometimes I think people are just extra safe because they don't want to rustle the feathers of people who are like, I went to film school and they told me to think this.
I only give it when people retroactively go back and say, hey, remember that piece of shit movie? It was actually pretty good. Like the crazy people are going back and saying the Fantastic Four movie had perfect casting. I'm like, no. You're wrong. Those movies were garbage.
But no, I'm glad that you like this, and we somewhat agree or whatever. But I just
We agree more than I thought we would.
It ended when it needed to, because I'm telling you, it would be if it was like one more episode or down to episode 12, whatever the fuck. I'd be like, all right, you've overstayed your fucking welcome. Get the fuck out of my goddamn sight. Like so.
I think they chose 9 episodes for a reason, because essentially this is a trilogy.
Yeah.
Every 3 episodes is different. Like, again, the Winter, like, you got Captain America, you have the first Avenger, the first 12 episodes. Then you have the Winter Soldier, where things start to change. Then you have the whole Civil War, where everything's kind of exploding, and you get this character where it's like, hey, we've developed to a point where I wonder what they're going to do with other movies. Like, I'm now more excited for Doctor Strange than I was prior.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. But aside from that, though, I'm going to go ahead and show you a little something. So, I showed the chat, because, you already know about this. But, yeah, fucking... Metropolis Collective, we're gonna get the fuck out of here. Why don't you tell people where to find you and all that good stuff? My segue was terrible today.
Yes, I think at one point I think you were gonna show me your dick. I was like, what the fuck's going on?
That'll be good for the Metropolis. I'll send y'all some pictures.
Well, anyway, basically, go to the Metropolis Collective. I should definitely put that link in the chat. I will get better at doing that. But basically, drop a like on there. You'll see a lot of the content's going on. Nunes just did their podcast for episode 18. Once again, there's a trigger warning because apparently there's a lot of bullshit bullying going on in the K-pop world. So what can you do? Oh, and okay, well, apparently there's a bunch of links in the chat. You'll find one of them. I have an Instagram?
Yeah, dude.
Okay, I apparently have an Instagram. So basically follow me on all those platforms that you're seeing in the chat right now. My Twitter is mostly focused on video games. So that's where you're seeing me yelling a lot there. Metropolis has all sorts of stuff. We're expecting new content, and we're focusing more streamlined. We're gonna put a fucking schedule up on for the first time in 2 fucking years. So
no fucking
we
way.
should check that shit out. Yeah, we're basically we had a meeting to solidify a lot of the changes going on.
Essentially, Metropolis Collective is under some new management. And I gotta tell you personally, I love the new management. You're doing a fucking amazing job, and I just want to put that out there. It's like, yeah, it's one of those things.
Team effort. I'm not taking any fucking credit.
Yeah, but I mean, it just there's a particular thing that changed, and yeah, just saying, very good, very very noticeable, and I'm glad that you're doing those particular things. So it is what it is. Blazer Michael saying, "Wow, the Metropolis Collective is moving on up." Yes, and you can thank this man right here. But anyways, guys, we're gonna begin the fuck out of here. So thank you. We're gonna be rating Man Repart pictures. I've seen that person watch us before. Yeah, I never watched their streams, but I'm glad they're streaming though. It's actually a pretty cool thing. So yeah, once again, guys, if you do stream, make sure to let me know so I can actually raid you and kind of build your community up too. If we all build together, then we all can succeed together. So the music is not playing. Thank you. The rating is happening. So enjoy yourself, and yeah, goodbye. The whole thing. Alan's wrong about WandaVision though. He's an asshole. Okay.
You're wrong about a lot of things.
You're wrong
just
about
in general.
You know what?
That's motherfucker not like the first time out on the MCU movie. Well, it was old. You like the kind of stuff. You're just wrong.
You're just wrong all the time. Look at your fucking shirt. You're wrong. You're wearing green. How dare you?
Yeah?
Asshole.
It's a wonderful color.
It is kind of wonderful. I'm sorry, man.